All right, Fighting Irish Faithful, welcome back to a post-game show. Notre Dame survives Navy. Not as smooth as the first half was, but the second half definitely, I think, Twitter was kind of a mess. I'll just put it that way. Which, I mean, I didn't directly say this in the pregame show, but I did kind of allude to the fact that Navy doesn't roll over and die. They don't quit, and they're going to evolve, and that's kind of what we want the United States Armed Forces to do. So, anyway, Notre Dame is victorious, defeats the midshipmen of Navy by a score of 35-32, and Notre Dame didn't even need to score in the second half to do it. So, hooray for our side. But Navy, of course, scores 19 points in the second half to make it very interesting there at the end of the fourth quarter. So thank you everyone for joining me. I am at faithful_Irish on the Twitter, and this is season 3, episode 24 of the Fighting Irish Faithful show. Let's get to our first person here. Let's go to Jam at Jamico703. You've been invited to speak. Thank you, and welcome to the Fighting Irish Faithful show.
That was a pain. Your priorities are well placed, taking care of your child first and foremost. So hats off to you for that.
Thank you. You can tell that to any court or CPS.
I hear you. That I saw Pete Sampson tweet 2 total yards in the second half when you take out total yardage with the loss of yards.
Yeah, like sacks and shit like that. Yeah,
absolutely abysmal. Like, you have to step on people's throat. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. One thing you know about playing Navy, they're not going to lay down. They're not going to flinch.
No, they're not.
And we saw that. But
yeah, I mean, let's just go through this. Like, second half, right? Navy gets the ball back right away, and they get a field goal after using 10 minutes on the clock in the third quarter. Like I was kind of like, what happened to the third quarter? Well, there it is. Navy's first drive, which was a field goal. And I'm not at all shocked by that. Are you?
No, not at all. And going back to your comments a couple weeks ago with J.D. Bertrand, I think not having his experience today hurt.
Yeah.
I think undoubtedly when you have to play a team like that where it's all assignment football, that so it's always good to, be able to critique after a win as opposed to a loss. But we have a lot of work to do, save for that final 3 minutes of the first half and the first, couple drives. The rest of the game was, holy cow.
Yeah, it was a little rough to watch because, I mean, Notre Dame had 5 possessions essentially. 4 of them were punts and 1 of them was interception. They had no drive that went longer than 6 plays in the second half. So, well, I guess, and that's not really counting the 2 kneel downs at the end there. But yeah, I mean, look, Navy just quite frankly just ran more plays than Notre Dame in the second half, and that's the ball control game that we expect from Navy. It shouldn't really be too much of a shocker or surprise. This is what Navy does, and if we don't stop them, this is what happens. So, if we're not getting into a rhythm,
Well, Estime have 1 carry in the second half. We a lot of draw stuff, like run downhill at them. Like it's, what do they give up? 50 pounds a person on the line.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot from Estime. I'm seeing a lot of digs in on the second half. So who knows what's going on there with the personnel. Estime was in for 1 play, as far as I can tell, in our first possession of the second half for 3 yards. So. And that was after a sack. And I remember watching that play. I'm like, why the hell are we doing a run on like second and long? I was just like, this seems kind of dumb, and our passing. And I have some numbers here about that regarding Notre Dame's pass game is not as abysmal as some people on Twitter would like to believe it is, but it really wasn't that bad. I think it's just an overall execution of the offense. If you want to be critical, let's go there, or just some lack of run game. What's been the strength of this team? Jam, you know what it is. It's running the football. Why we can't do it to Navy, a team with far inferior talent, a talent that I actually looked up this morning, over the last 4 years, averages 122nd in the country. It's by far the worst talent of any program we will play, but it is probably the most disciplined program we will also play.
No, that's fair. And I think Pine in the second half got a little greedy, trying to, and in his defense, he had somebody in his face every time he dropped back, but he always seems to want to, hit the big play as opposed to take what's given to him. I love Dan O's calling the games and the stuff that he points out, but it's a lot of callers. It's, survive in advance, like March Madness, move on to BC and learn from the meltdown. But great teams you have to have that killer instinct when you have somebody on their back. You got to keep them down.
Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame was up huge going into halftime, and again, thank goodness Notre Dame really laid the wood on them, with 35 points in the first half, and I'm like, damn, we're killing them. We could hit 50 plus, by game's end, and see Angeli if we really put our foot on the gas, and it doesn't happen. So I'm sure a lot of people are disappointed because of that, not necessarily because of this guy or that guy. Maybe there's a few people who are very particular in their criticism, and that's fine to those people. That's you're entitled to your opinion. I'm just taking a realistic approach. Is like, I'm not surprised with this result. Like, this is the most tempered I've been for how let down the Irish were in the second half. But again, we came away with a win, and when it really mattered, we got the stops.
Play of the game, Prince Coley on the onside kick recovery.
Yep.
That was a well-disciplined play,
Yeah. And I was really surprised to see that Navy in the, I think, what was it, the second quarter? They did an onside kick then, and we recovered it as well, right from the get-go. So that's good coaching right there. And then they were doing like trick play, like double reverse pass crap, which ended up being an interception. So hooray for the defense on that. But no, you're 100% right. The onside kick recovery right at the end of the game really iced it and took the wind out of the sails of the midshipmen.
Yeah, no, pun intended.
Oh, no, pun was definitely intended there.
I was talking to the one earlier in the game, because that one was the time when you weren't expecting it in that second. What was the beginning of the third quarter after one of their scores?
Correct.
Yeah, I thought that was just disciplined football, because natural instincts just to as he's approaching to start going back, and he played assignment football. So. Appreciate the show as always. Thank you.
No, appreciate your contribution. Well, Jam, I appreciate you jumping on at Jamiko703 on the Twitter. Thank you for joining the Fighting Irish Faithful show. We got a ton of people to get to tonight after a Notre Dame victory, the victory show, but Notre Dame survives. So people are a little angsty going into the weekend, and maybe it's just because finally it snowed here in central Indiana. So maybe that's what's going on. But let's go to someone else here who's in the future. Steve at Stevie D Irish on Twitter. You've been invited to speak, sir. Welcome to the Fighting Irish Faithful show.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm actually doing well. I mean, Notre Dame won, so I can't be too upset. And it was a little ugly at the end, but maybe it's a preview of what we'll see in Ireland next year.
God, I hope not. I don't know if I could sit down like the game and watch that. I didn't see all of it. It wasn't on TV over here, so I was using a lot of dodgy links, and they kept dropping on me. So I was kind of seeing bits and pieces here and there. First half, what I saw was great. Drew Pine, very good. He got good protection, and he got his passes out for the most part. The defense was a bit concerning. All right, they were seeming to give up big plays a lot.
Yes, there were some big chunk plays where it's like, and some of those plays, and it was in the first half where, like triple option, right? You have the first is the fullback dive, then you have the quarterback, keeper, and then you have the pitch. And it's like you have to have assignment football to attack and defend each one and expect each one every time. And you have to be honest with it. And there were a few plays where their fullback just right up the gut just got the ball and he's just ready to freight train it. And he made some good yards, and I think he had a touchdown. So so that's really concerning where we can't even stop level 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's not. I think you tweeted it, or someone said it, that it's like they've never seen Navy play before. It's like we know what's happening, and they still couldn't stop it, which was very worrying, really. But look, they did win. The second half was extremely difficult to watch, very worrying, and I don't know. I mean, I give credit to the offense in the first half, and Drew Pine again. He did well for the most part. Second half,
I would
he had
agree
no
with that.
chance. Second half, he got no protection. He was very slow to let the ball out on a lot of occasions. And there was one stage there, I was really mad over it when, you could see that they were blitzing. Like, I think it was pretty obvious. And Pine totally turned his back to the left-hand side of the field as he looked at it. And he got sacked. And it was like, I've never played football in my life, and I could see that was going to happen. So how could he not see that was going to happen?
Yeah, either he's not looking for what his protection is or not, I didn't see Navy all of a sudden do something tricky. It looked like people had just lined up on the edge there, and there's two guys, and it's like, there's a math problem here. There's more of them than us. So you need to pay attention to that. So hopefully Coach Reese was in his ear about that. I got a question for you, Stevie, since I was going to save this for later, but you've mentioned Drew Pine a few times. Do you know what his completion percentage was this game? I was actually, it's very high. I'll be very honest with you.
I was going to say, like, I mean, did he even throw the ball in the second half? Like, it didn't look like it anyway, or if he did, he wasn't passing them. I bet you it was probably
unfortunately, I don't have the stats broken down by half. If I did that, it would be a completely different complexion. But what I will say is this: for the overall performance of the game, which really is what people are going to remember, down the road, Drew Pine threw the ball 81% of the time.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
That is the highest he has all year, and it is higher than national champions on average and Heisman Trophy winners on average. Now, I'm not saying Drew Pine is either of those things. That is not what I'm saying, so I don't want anyone to misunderstand me.
I don't think anyone would.
But he was 17 of 21, and, he threw for 269 yards, which isn't great, but, it's only 10 yards shy of what national champions average, Now, again, it's against Navy, a team with 122nd ranked talent, and, what's their strength of schedule? It's 66, and they're ranked 94 in Sacramento. I get all of that, okay? At the end of the day, if we just want to look at completion percentage in a vacuum, it was pretty good. Okay. And he had the one pick. It was a blocked pass, right? It's not the first time that's happened, right? It's because he's 5'11", I'm taller than him, so.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's always, every game you're going to see him have blocked passes. I don't think there's been a game where there hasn't been a tipped pass or something.
Yeah.
But again, in his defense, the protection in the second half was pretty abysmal for a lot of us. The offensive line were non-existent for a lot of us. But look,
it's really bizarre. I mean, we can't really. He's getting sacked here. When it's 3rd and 15. So I don't really know what Navy was doing that was really special from a pressure wise. But I would also argue that Navy did a very good job of forcing Notre Dame into a 3rd and long situation multiple times.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's a function of Notre Dame being dumb and throwing on first down when they should just, run. I'm seriously going through Notre Dame's plays right here. This is really bad radio here, but look, 1st and 10, Notre Dame's first possession is an incomplete pass. So now it's 2nd and 10. Notre Dame's next possession, which was a punt, 3 and out. How do we start that possession? Another pass. Okay, now granted, it was complete to Mayer for 6 yards, but after that, nothing good. Next possession, another pass. We end up punting, and that's it. Like, why the fuck is Notre Dame passing on first down when we don't really need to? Like, we're already starting back. Like, we know we can run the ball. We're not trying to run the ball. Just, like, calm down, run the ball. Like, did we not learn anything for the last 3 weeks? Apparently not.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Stick with what has been working.
Yeah, why all of a sudden, like, oh, we're playing Navy. Of course we can pass. Really? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It's extremely frustrating.
Because it's not like Navy consistently was stuffing us with the run. Like, I mean, look, Notre Dame didn't end up with a lot of rushing yards at all. It was actually really, really bad. We only had 66 rushing yards tonight, which is abysmal. It's actually the worst. That was less than the Ohio State game.
Yeah,
Pin
that's
drop.
Crazy. Like, yeah,
pin drop. Well, Stevie, what do you think against Boston College? You're just gonna, say forget them and move on, or?
Well, I mean, look, they're going to play Boston College. I think, thankfully they won today. You would hope they would be better prepared now because of the fact they've seen. Lads, how many times do you have to be told that if you don't play well against the teams that you're supposed to beat, you're going to struggle? And they've done it. It's not just this season either. It's the last 10 years probably for the most part.
Yeah. That would be an interesting stat to look at is how many times Notre Dame has gone out and just emasculated teams they're supposed to, like a Navy or like a Marshall or, New Mexico or some of these other teams. Now, some of them we have blown these teams out, but the teams you definitely should on paper as far as strength of schedule, as far as Sagarin ranking, as far as recruiting and talent, there's really no contest, and we should really run up the score, get the third stringers, some seniors, some playing time.
Definitely.
And
that's the way it should be. It's like all the elite teams do that consistently.
Yeah.
There might be a blip once every 10 years, but that's what it is like. Whereas with us, it's, once or twice a season.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, next week LSU's playing, I think, UAB, and Alabama's got Austin Peay. It's not even Austin Perry. It's Austin Peay. Yeah. Maybe I'm mispronouncing that. Someone who's more educated can correct me by all means. But yeah, they murder teams that are inferior to them, and Notre Dame doesn't do it. So
points. No, it's silly and frustrating.
It is.
But I let you go. But just quickly, I would agree wholeheartedly with your sentiment about Notre Dame sticking with Navy on their schedule. I think they should keep them. I think the arguments for not having them, I don't really think add up at all. It's like, you don't like playing Navy because they play a bit different than everyone else. So what? That's a good thing. It gives you more of a...
We know exactly what they're going to do. Coach for it and deal with it, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
If anything, it toughens our team up to be more disciplined.
Exactly, yeah. I totally agree.
That's never a bad thing. All right, well, Stevie, I appreciate you jumping on at Stevie D Irish on the Twitter. Thank you so much for joining us from the Republic of Ireland, County Cork. Really appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
No problem. Take care. Talk
All right,
to you soon.
go Irish. Cheers.
Go Irish. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, Stevie D Irish. Yeah, and on the Drew Pine thing, one other thing I wanted to point out, in addition to his great completion percentage, is he had a passing attempts per touchdown ratio of 5.3. Every 5.3 passes tonight was a touchdown. That's amazing. That's really amazing. So, all right, let's go to someone new. Who wants to talk? Jason? Let's go to Jason. You're next in the queue here. At IrishJTL on the Twitter. You've been invited to speak if you so wish. If not, we'll jump over to someone else here for the post-game show. The Navy Survival Show. Is this like buds? We're all just covered in sand and rolling around in the cold Pacific Ocean. Who knows? Jason. Well, if you're not there, no big deal. All right. Who's this? This is someone new here. Oh, there's Jason.
Yep, I didn't get the request. I had to hit request. How you doing, guys?
That's okay, man. Hey, how you doing?
Good. Well, I missed the first half. I cut the tip of my finger off this morning.
Ah! What are you, like, doing woodworking with a freaking table saw? What the hell are you doing?
No, I was using a mandolin and the guard slipped, and I mean, it literally cut the tip of my middle finger off. I had to go to urgent care and carry a piece of my finger. So,
for the people who don't like the sight of blood, they have now vomited and fainted listening to this.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot.
Well, I hope you're doing better.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Put some, hydrogen peroxide or something on that. I don't know what.
I'm putting some alcohol on it.
Yeah, and by alcohol you mean something brown out of a bottle. Okay.
You got it.
All right, sir. So that's your pain medicine. Probably not doctor prescribed. So you missed actually the good half, and you had to watch the shitty half of the game.
That's what I saw. Yeah. I think I started watching right at about the blocked punt is when I got into it. So
Okay.
I don't have a lot of feedback. It was a rough half. I think the pattern that we see is we block punts. Pine still gets balls knocked down at the line of scrimmage. We had one for an interception today. And why on earth do we have secondary players that have to hold and grab? Now, I think Houston Griffith got screwed on his, but we're holding Navy's receivers like we can't keep up with them. Jesus.
Yeah, that was irritating to watch as well. I don't like seeing the secondary kind of caught out of position, and maybe it's again superior coaching by Navy. I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch the replay of what exactly was happened. And did someone, just have his his footwork all screwed up? Or are we playing man, and it was a good move by the Navy receiver, who knows? But you're right, we can apparently decimate Clemson from a secondary standpoint. And we go into Baltimore against Navy, a team with far inferior talent and far inferior receivers. And it just doesn't work out. So that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously play up and down to competition, and that has to change. So,
no doubt. So, does this give you more confidence going into BC, or is it more just like a sobering thought? Because it's like, let me put it this way: did you expect Notre Dame to blow Navy out after the really high victory over Clemson last week?
Going into the game, I didn't. I thought we would cover, though. I really thought we were going to cover. And even when I started watching the game, obviously I went back and watched the replay of Lindsey's catch, and I thought we were going to cover. But when I first started watching, I think they showed the graphic. We're like 35th in running yards allowed on the year, and they already had 144. And I was like, yeah, I don't see it going well in the second half. And then after Pine got that ball batted and it was picked off, so I don't know. I don't know what to expect next week. If they come out flat at home, at least it's senior night, which is good historically. So we'll see.
My hope on senior night is to just beat the pants off of Boston College. I mean, they are kind of a second tier hate team for me. They're not. Tier 1 is reserved for USC, Michigan, and Miami, but Boston College is in level 2 there of Dante's Inferno. So,
how old are you?
I am in my late 30s.
Okay, so do you remember '93 pretty well?
Yes.
That's why. The same
of course
reason.
It is.
That's why they're my second tier.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boston College is the backup college.
Yep. My boss's alma mater is actually Boston College too, so nice. I really hope that we come out ready to play. We've historically played well in senior night. We trounced Georgia Tech last year. I'll be there next week, so.
Oh, excellent.
Hopefully we see something a little better, but I mean, the theme for me is this season is what it is. USC does not look winnable to me. I don't think we can run with their offense. I think we can slow them down a little bit, but I would anticipate something similar to Ohio State, but maybe a little higher scoring, like a 31-20 or a 41-30. But I think about the same deficit. I think we'll probably lose that game by around 10. And, so we're going to be 8-4, maybe 9-3, which I think 9-3 was kind of expected, but with different losses this year. And we got to get something quarterback-wise in the portal, or we got to, I don't know if Buckner can stay healthy, and even if he can, if he's the guy. I mean, he was losing to Marshall when he got hurt, so.
Well, and I mean, there's a lot you've unpacked there, anything from quarterbacks to how Notre Dame's going to rank and perform against USC, or just all of the above. Just to hit on a couple of those things. The USC game we won't look at until next week. Although I agree with you, they should not be underestimated. Not only are they our rival, our hated rival, certainly hated in this house, but USC clearly can put up points against a shitty Colorado team that we saw the other night. And then, but one thing USC does very well is they lead the country by far in turnover margin. Go look it up. They have more positive turnover ratio in their favor than any other team in college football. It's quite remarkable. They put up a lot of points. They have only the one loss there. And it's a home game for them. Now, what I will say in kind of rebuttal is Notre Dame has played well on the road. And so I feel good about that. But back to this Navy game, when we struggle in the second half against an inferior talented Navy, our confidence is shaken, against, clearly you're looking at USC. I don't think you're wrong to do that. I'm not saying you're overlooking Boston College, but Boston College could be a fist fight for all we know. And then we go to Southern Cal. So, Notre Dame needs to continue to fight, continue to dig, and this is where coaching really comes to play and really matters. And I think there's a few execution pieces that could have been corrected with this Navy game to make things better. But I think I won't get into details here, but someone was giving me shit about the quarterback play, and I was like, well, I just don't really think that's the problem, or it shouldn't be a surprise. I'll just put it that way. It's like, look, Drew Pine is who he is, and we're not going to magically wake up next week in practice and we're going to have a Heisman worthy quarterback, right? And that's just not what this team is. And so, like, if I was getting some names called my way because of that, and I'm just like, okay, Jesus loves you too. And simultaneously, it's like, look, I'm going to be the most realistic, person out there. I'm not going to sprinkle pixie dust and just, beat on the desk here and say we need to throw, 30 plus touchdowns, through the air. No, that's not going to happen this year with this squad. So if that's a loser mentality, okay, fine. I'm embracing the fact that we actually have way more in the backfield to run the football, which is a more sustainable model, a more risk-averse model, especially with who's at quarterback right now. And we didn't do that tonight. And I guarantee you, if we ran the ball better than 66 yards, we would have done better. Now, what's surprising is we still ran the ball 61% of the time tonight.
Yeah, we should have been able to run the ball too. I mean, the size difference alone between our offensive line and their defensive line. And it's not like they're a smaller Florida defense that's just got speed that outclasses us edge to edge. They're
just disciplined.
They're smaller and as slow as we are. So
they're disciplined, and they're well coached.
Yeah,
and people don't like playing that. Okay, people would rather play UAB for a team that's going to roll over and die. I'm going to flat out say it. All right, people who don't like playing Navy is because they don't want to play a team that doesn't quit. I'm sorry. I'm gonna prove it. And anyone who disagrees, by all means, jump on. So,
agreed.
So, all right, Jason, we got a few more people we're gonna try to get to, and we're gonna try to keep this a little under 2 hours tonight. So, thank you, Jason, on the Twitter at IrishJTL on the Twitter. Thank you for joining us tonight, and have a good week and a safe trip up to South Bend next week for the game against the backup college. And tell your boss that Gonzaga is a real Jesuit university. All right. All right, that was Jason. And yes, I went to Gonzaga. All right, Hockey Man, you've requested to speak. We've invited you to speak, sir. Go ahead and jump on. Hockey Dude, 8487. Welcome to the Fighting Irish Faithful Show.
Hey, brothers, how you guys doing?
Hey, what's up, man? We're doing all right. You know, we got some snow here in central Indiana, which is kind of freaky and cool at the same time. No pun intended there.
Damn, I haven't seen snow since Japan. That's
Since
crazy.
Japan on Mount Fuji. Nice. Sweet.
Yeah, Fuji, but down Iwakuni. But yeah.
Nice. So what do you think of this game? Clearly Notre Dame wins, so you got to be happy with that.
Of course I'm happy with the win, but I mean, you're a stats man. How many offensive yards did we have in the second half?
I don't break it down by half. I can tell you we scored 0 points at the real high level. I'd have to go play by play to add that up. But yeah, overall Notre Dame ends up with I don't even have I have total plays. I have rushing yards, total yards. There we go. Total yards. We actually had less than Navy. We had 335. They had 363.
Well, the second half we had 2 total yards.
That sucks.
That's via Pete Sampson put that out on Twitter. I don't know.
That's all right. He also is kind of. He's probably not wrong, right? But if he is just reporting what happened, that's fine. But if there's any predictions of what Sampson says is going to happen, it's probably wrong, because he actually predicted Notre Dame would lose by a lot to Iowa State in 2019, and I don't think he'll ever let that down. So, not to call him out, but it's to keep him honest, right? Hey, look, if I said something wrong, by all means, people can bring that up for the end of time. On every show.
you got to keep reminding him of that, definitely. Yeah. I don't, at 2 yards in the second half, the whole game was made by the offense just not executing, and I don't know what they were doing, because Navy, we know what Navy is, right? I mean,
well, Navy didn't really do anything special in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, from what I saw, it's like they just sold out to the run and just try to crash down massively on the pass attacks, and that was it.
Yeah. When Navy decides oh shit, we gotta put it in high gear towards the end of the game because the clock's running down. They got some good passes, and they had a great catch, towards the end to force the onside kick, with a minute and a half left. So good for Navy.
Yeah, I was just the whole second half offense, man. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no understanding of what they were doing in the second half in the offense.
I mean, if I take a real, very, narrow view, I don't think we were attempting to run the ball. Every single one of our offensive possessions that we started in the second half, and then there's only a handful, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. No, only 3. We had 3 real possessions in the second half. All 3 we tried to pass on first down, and it's like, why? You don't have to do that. So that's just my opinion. Now, granted, I can see people would say, well, it doesn't matter if you pass or run. It's 1st and 10. You got the whole playbook. I agree, but look, what's the strength of this team, and what is kind of been our MO? It's been running the football, especially against a Navy team. Now, when you all of a sudden you just drop back to pass in shotgun, you're kind of just saying, we don't really want to do that.
I just think they went really vanilla with offense. They're really comfortable, and they just decided to be really vanilla.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, nothing says. Certainly passing isn't smash mouth. You know what I mean? And look, if we had more, like, if we had, Will Fuller or Chase Claypool or
I mean, I understand all that. I'm just saying, like, they went really vanilla. So, like, the run game was very simple, I guess you'd say. Like, the pass game was very simple in the second half, and it just kind of, like, built on each other.
Well, and there was creativity going on in the game. Like, there was one play where it was, like, 3rd and short, and Notre Dame went for it on what was it? Yeah, it was like 3rd and short, and we did like a toss to Diggs or Tyree or something, and it was a great play. It was a great play call, and I'm just like, yes, that's what we're doing. We're using our speed. We have superior athletes, can get to the edge that Navy can't, and we're effectively blocking down low, down on the inside. And yeah, that's what Notre Dame can do because we have that advantage. And it's like, we didn't see that again.
Yeah. I would say like I said, the offense was very vanilla in the second half. And, that last drive by Navy, by the defense, I was really depressed because they went prevent. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Against Navy? What? And maybe that's the right call at the end of the game there, but I mean, Navy goes, 11 plays, 88 yards, for about 3 minutes, to get that pass, and, their backup quarterback, comes in, and he's throwing, putting, balls on frozen ropes to his receivers.
When was the last time we had the backup quarterback thing going on? That's
what, you talking about Drew Pine? What, Drew Pine?
No, that's like a...
Drew Pine threw 88% or 81% tonight. What am I talking about? He's the backup quarterback.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you there. No, you're not wrong, and then, then they get the 2-point conversion, which shouldn't surprise anyone. So it's just like, okay, I don't know. I mean... Look, like, I'm not asking anyone to be satisfied with the second half or even this game as a whole, other than the exception of the final score, which is we won, right? And there are reasons why we won. Maybe it's because we just blew the hell out of them in the first half, which is great. Get out to a big lead. When you're up 35-13 in the second half, or at the end of the second quarter. That's one hell of a speech given by Kenya Matalolo to the midshipmen, right? So good on him.
That's what you got to do against Navy. You got to get that margin up, and that's what you got to do. And
I mean, who's shocked? Who's shocked by Navy trying to make a comeback? Who's shocked by that? This should shock nobody.
No, I mean, nobody's shocked by that.
I hope not. Go ask Twitter. People on Twitter are beside themselves, like, "Oh, this is unacceptable." And it's like, I agree with you, it's unacceptable, but be realistic. It's gonna happen.
No, I mean, I like the second half offense. Like, if you just get a score in the second half, if you just possess the ball a little bit more in the second half, we're not frustrated, right?
Oh, no, I'm with you. And I share said frustration. I'm just like, some people are just like jumping to, wild accusations and platitudes of, grandeur. And it's like, they have unrealistic expectations. And it's like, why don't you bring something tangible to actually address the problem? Not just dream for things from Santa Claus. Like, that's the kind of stuff I'm reading. People are like, we need better quarterback play. Like, that's really what you're asking for? Like, have you watched the previous 8 games this year? I don't know. Actually, it's 9 games.
Well, it's not Christmas.
Well, it's 8. Man. It's 8 because that's right. It's Thanksgiving, and Christmas doesn't officially start for like over a month. It seems. Gosh, is it really November 12th? Damn, that's crazy. Happy Veterans Day.
We gotta watch, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles first.
That's right. Oh, great movie. That's right. Speaking of Thanksgiving, if we want to change gears for a second, we got our delivery of our main Thanksgiving course. So Doc asked me, actually, I went to the doc. I was like, you know what? Turkey is fine, but I cook a pretty mean pork shoulder on the smoker. What if I did that? And then she rebutted with, I would prefer brisket. And so I said,
yeah.
challenge accepted. So said
Nice.
brisket arrived due to local farm. And so that's down in the deep freeze. We'll pull that out about a week or two or whatever before. Or if
you
anyone's
got some local beef. That's awesome, man.
that's the intent. So I don't know if it's prime or choice or whatever. You know, I didn't go to that level of scrutiny here, but I will say that we're looking forward to brisket for Thanksgiving. So and we will probably also do like a turkey breast or something smaller. You know, but I was like, well, what if we just did, because like you do a regular turkey, right? It's got the skin and everything, and I can cook a mean turkey. You know, it'd be nice and moist and delicious. But a turkey breast, that's a little more challenging because, you know, there's less tissue there, and breast is kind of, you know, the drier meat. So I'm like, well, what if we wrapped it in bacon?
Oh man,
Everything is better wrapped in bacon.
Yeah.
Bacon is the duct tape of food.
Yeah, I mean that's the local meat, and that's good on you, dude. That's really good. Yeah. I would actually also recommend frying the turkey breast as well.
Oh, talk to me. All right, hockey dude. Anything else for this game? You know, other than, you know, like we got the win, just take it and run, or well, we didn't really run, but.
Yeah, I think some of this is the letdown from Clemson. Obviously, I think you got to reset, and you know the good things we saw in Clemson the game before is the good culture. So we just gotta keep building on that. That's what you gotta do.
I'm with you there. No argument here. Well, thank you, Hockey Dude 8487 on the Twitter. Thank you for joining the Fighting Irish Faithful, the Navy Survival Show. You survived the obstacle course. I really appreciate you jumping on. Have a good day, a good Veterans Weekend, and go Irish.
Hey, go Irish, and you know, Marine Corps. Let's go. Veterans Day, Marine Corps birthday just before that. Hey, good job, Navy.
All right, respect. Yeah, no, I mean, tip of the cap, and I got no problem with Notre Dame playing Navy over Veterans Day weekend at all, or I actually have no problem Notre Dame playing Navy every year. I would actually prefer Notre Dame play Navy on a rotation with the other two service academies. If you want more details of that, go to last, it's actually Thursday's show. Where we talk about that. Go to, I think it was minute 37, because someone asked me about that and I had to tweet that out.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good, man. That'd be good.
Yeah, put them on a rotation. Keep it interesting. All right, Hockey Man, thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
All right, go Irish.
Go Irish.
All right, that was Hockey Dude 8487. Let's not skip a beat. Go over to Dominic here. Dom Richard 88. You've been invited to speak, sir. Put the bourbon down, pick up your phone, jump on the Fighting Irish Faithful show. And maybe you're out smoking a cigar. Who knows? No, maybe you are, because it's freezing cold outside. If he's not going to jump on, that's fine. We'll jump over to ND Fanatics. Fanatics ND, you've been invited to speak on the show. Welcome to the Fighting Irish Faithful show, if you so wish. If not, I'm just going to talk. That's totally fine. Notre Dame is victorious. You know, like, look, no one likes this kind of game. You know, it's an ugly Navy game, and it's all, you know, grimy and the refs suck. And let's pause on that. Let's go back to the end of the game, you know, the fourth quarter. Why the hell did it take the refs, the ACC refs, 10 minutes to review a play that should have taken them 30 seconds? I really don't know. But ND Fanatics, I see you are on here. Welcome back. Unmute yourself. Pink button, lower left hand. The world.
Good afternoon, everybody. Or
afternoon.
Good evening. Good morning, depending on where you are.
Yeah, exactly. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'll start on a positive note. I mean, Navy had a top 10 rushing defense. And last week they held Cincinnati to 20 points, their lowest point total of the year. So with the start that we got out to is very optimistic. But then it's just another second half of nothing, that's the third game this has happened. Stanford game loss, Ohio State game loss, Navy luckily pulled out a 3-point win where we've been shut out in a half. But yeah, I mean, like you said, you bring up a good point. You can't change the parts you have. There's nobody else per se unless they want to use Steve Angeli at quarterback.
And that's not a defeatist attitude. Like that is literally embracing reality of this is what we have. We have to make the best of what we have. And if we do great, then awesome. And look, don't get me wrong. When Drew Pine, throws a ball and it gets tipped, it's like, really, dude? Like, and maybe that's not exactly on him because that happens to the best of quarterbacks. But simultaneously, it's like, my criticism is more like, why is Reese not kind of like rolling him out into space so that just doesn't even happen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Right? This is not Trevor Lawrence back there who's really tall, or Deshaun Kaiser.
Yeah, and I mean, they have, in the games they have been effective. Yeah, you roll him out to the left or the right, and then he can look downfield and hopefully find someone if someone's open. But, as we saw today, I mean, they actually tried to pass more than, they ran more than they tried to pass, which has been a departure from Reese on average. The last 3 or 4 games that's changed, where Marcus has, through the rumor mill, had more say in what the offensive game plan has been. But I guess to be fair at the same time, if the pocket is breaking down, he's being sacked through no fault of his own. I mean, what does it matter if you're going to try to pass the ball on Navy anyways? So
I mean, in general, the last, for quite a few weeks now, we have definitely, from a play selection standpoint on offense, run the ball more than we have passed by far. Now, at some point, there's an effectivity thing going on, but as we talked many times, this second half, was pretty abysmal for Notre Dame. And my criticism is, why are we coming out on all 3 of our primary possessions where, we're trying to sling it. Now, here's the thing. The interception that Pine threw, that ended up setting up, a nice touchdown pass by Navy, and Navy ended up with 2 reception touchdowns, which is crazy. A team that historically is not good at passing touchdowns. Do you know how many they've had all season?
No idea how many.
They have 6 total passing touchdowns going into this game, ranked 121st in college football.
Wow.
And they threw 2 against us, both in the second half.
I said earlier to some people, obviously, as you know, not having Brandon Joseph and not having J.D. Bertrand is very huge. I mean, specifically as Orlovsky was talking about, because I'm taking it from him. This isn't my own research. You've got a guy like Kaiser, who's pretty much the only veteran linebacker back there that's seen the option.
When Bo Bauer's been injured, right?
Exactly. So that's
a very valid point you make.
Pour more on top of it. You got to worry about the option, and then they're gonna, we can pass now, and they started passing second half. That's huge. And again, it's like, I just think Reese has to get a little more creative, because as good as aforementioned said Navy's rush defense can be, they're undersized, and there's no reason you can't throw to Michael Mayer in the flat or on a post route, or even Jaden Thomas in the second half. It's just a little baffling, and part of that is Pine, but part of it is maybe get a little more creative, because, I mean, we are seeing a pattern where you've had at least one, very predominantly, I have to do a little more research, but just grazing what I looked at tonight, the third quarter has been a predominant quarter where Notre Dame has failed to score points, where the other team has made adjustments. And that's not a good look on your coaching staff at all.
Yeah, if I look back at the past 4 games, there's only one where we've scored, and that was Syracuse. We only got a field goal. But between UNLV, Clemson, and Navy, we have scored 0 points in the third quarter. So that is a concern.
Yeah, and I mean, just kind of on a final note, I don't want to take up all the time.
No, that's okay.
I forgot who it was, and he may or may not still be in here. But in regards to USC, they have a great offense.
Sure.
Arguably, maybe the best offense we'll see this season next to Ohio State.
Yes,
with that
I
being
agree with
said,
that.
their defense isn't all that it's cracked up to be, just comparatively. 28 points to Stanford, 35 to California. Notre Dame played both those teams.
Yeah.
Notre Dame can score on USC. And you made the great point. Notre Dame plays better on the road. There's a lot of Notre Dame fans in SoCal that'll be there.
One of them should be Red Snapper. I think I saw a tweet from Dos Leprechauns. He said he's going to be at that SoCal game. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that Red Snapper is going to the game. Yeah, the Fighting Irish Faithful show and at least the Dos Leprechauns show will be represented in the Coliseum, but that's a couple weeks away after Thanksgiving. We still have got the Boston College Eagles coming up. How do you feel about that? Like did Notre Dame need to have kind of this close game to kind of refocus and just be like, okay, look, we got 2 more games left. Yes, we beat Clemson and we're feeling like King Tut here. And everyone's, happy with rushing the field and all these fun, mantra videos on YouTube that everyone's been watching. But simultaneously, it's like, well, we still got, these games to play and we still have business to take care of.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point. I mean, it's a rivalry game with backup college. And, I think it's nice that this wasn't a super easy game where the coaches will kind of try and light a fire under their butts for the next week. And then, I believe, if I'm not wrong here, was Marcus Freeman here the last time that we saw Boston College? So he's seen, oh my God, what's the kid's name that transferred who's still quarterback there?
Phil Jerkovic?
He's seen Jerkovic before, correct? He was here 2 years ago,
no,
right?
Jerkovic transferred last year, or maybe, no, it was the COVID year, is the year we played them. Last, I'm pretty sure. I can.
So if it was the COVID year, then Marcus Freeman has seen Jerkovic because he was here in 2020. So.
No, he was at Cincinnati. He was new last year. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Pardon me. So
no, that's cool. I'm not trying to one up you here. No, but the last time we saw Jerkovic was in 2020, and he's clearly taken advantage of the extra year from COVID back to him. So.
No. You got to be accurate if I'm incorrect. There's no one-upping. But I would say at least you do have some defense.
I'm trying to do it politely.
You're always polite. But you do have some defense.
Thank you. Tell that to the assholes on Twitter. Although I'm pretty snarky with people sometimes. It's just but I just can't stand it when people are just running their mouth and they're just being delusional and don't get me wrong, people are entitled to their feelings and their opinions, I'm respect, but at the same time it's don't tell me I'm being a loser or just because I'm saying that I just don't think Drew Pine has the tools in the toolbox. If I'm embracing mediocrity, that's farthest from the truth, but I'm also not gonna just beat a drum that's gonna yield nothing.
Yeah, I think, you like me, I mean, you're going to kind of keep your head above the fray, per se. It's different people have different education levels. You're a Notre Dame grad.
Damn! I didn't even want to go there. I was not going to go there.
The communication level, we're just... Even a
command of the English language, punctuation and grammar and tweets. Yeah. Yes.
It's something we run across in the Twitter
sphere. I need some like Mozart or some shit to play right now.
But I will say
maybe we should trade the scotch for some fine wine and sherry and some what's the there's this great movie. If we gotta take a step back here. Grace Kelly. Everyone knows Grace Kelly, respects, Grace Kelly from the golden age of Hollywood. There's a Hitchcock film called Rear Window. If you haven't seen it, trust me, it's so great. And it has Jimmy Stewart in it. And Grace Kelly is this social elite in New York. And, she shows up at Jimmy Stewart's apartment, right? I won't tell you anything. But there's this scene where they have dinner catered and it's lobster or something. And she makes it all happen for her boyfriend. And then she has brandy and she's like wearing this like fine evening gown, and she has this ginormous glass of brandy, and she's like swirling it around and, you know, looking glamorous and whatever. And it's just like, that's not what the Fighting Irish Faithful show is, but if that's what we need to be to grow, I will embrace that. I will sell out for that.
Well, I think we all go, well, some of us grow, some of us don't. I mean, at one point in time, I would have been a person to kind of use lowbrow language and, you know, basically you kind of almost feed into an average person's train of thought because they want to elicit a response from you. But,
well, and I also don't want to be like some elitist snob asshole, you know, wine and cheese crowd either. So don't get me wrong. I'd rather be the noisy table at the bar, you know, with this podcast, you know, eating, you know, having a contest eating hot chicken wings, right? That's sign me up for that shit, right? That's what I'm all about. But simultaneously, it's like, well, you know, like, yes, that's like where my spirit is, but also I'm bringing another element here of analysis, but also reality. Like, I'm gonna say it like it is. You know, if we can't pass, we can't pass. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, you want me to just complain with you that we should pass more? Okay, I'll complain with you. Yes, we should pass more. We should do better. Go do better. Like.
And it's a fine line, too. Like, I've been a big critic of Tommy Rees, but at the same time, like, you know...
I called him to be fired in 2020.
Yeah, he's our coach, and, you know, players are our players, so it's like some people are okay with they suck and they're terrible, but I'm more like, I can say...
How is that helpful?
Exactly.
And don't get me wrong, like, and I kind of put this out on Twitter, and we'll jump over some few people here in a minute, because since you mentioned it, I threw it out on Twitter tonight. Someone would mention something about 2017, and I will be the first to admit I was on boycott in 2017. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't watch games. I did not give a single dime to the university after 2016 because I thought Kelly should have been fired after the NC State game. They retained his ass, okay, and they did all this other crap, and I was just like, no, like, I'm not gonna throw a dime into that. I didn't donate. I didn't try to get tickets. I didn't try to go to a game, and fortunately, they kind of turned things around, minus the debacle at Miami. But that aside, you know, we had a Citrus Bowl win, which was great. And then 2018 was fantastic. We went to the playoffs. Now, unfortunately, you know, I was decimated at that, you know, game down south against Clemson, which sucked, you know, and that was kind of a turning point for me to want to do this show. But that being said, like, I'll be the first to admit, like, I do not accept mediocrity. I physically did not spend a single dime on gear, tickets, donation, none of that shit in 2017, because the performance from 2016 and the staff and the performance of that program, our program, Notre Dame, was abysmal in 2016. And fortunately, Brian Kelly turned things around, which is surprising. It surprises the hell out of me. And so, you know, I'll eat my hat if necessary. Now, he ended up doing a dirty and, you know, cheating on us last year and going to LSU, and that's fine. I'm happy with, you know, well, it's not fine, but I'm happy with Marcus Freeman now, which is great, you know. You know, but I admitted to myself in 2016, we're never going to win a title with Kelly. And so it's like, well, what do you want me to do? Right. So anyway, we're kind of having more of a therapy session here where after a win where we should be really happy and just be like, yeah, let's go beat Boston College. So.
Well, I guess on finishing on a final note from like my take is, you know, the journey for a double-digit win season is still possible. You beat Boston College, you beat USC, and a bowl game opponent to be determined, and you finish the year 10-3. And you know, the last time we failed to do that was 2016, 4-8, as you just mentioned. Yeah. And then prior to that, the last winning season that wasn't double-digit was 2014, 8-5. So, you know, it's been a good run, and we're going to continue that with Marcus Freeman and Tommy Rees.
Yeah, I agree. I appreciate that. Finishing on a positive note. Well, we got a few people that jumped on here. We got some new people. I see Adam Dowling. We'll try to jump over him because he's loyal here. But at Fanatics ND. I really appreciate your valuable insight, bringing some numbers and some stats, and not afraid to touch some of the sensitive topics among the Notre Dame Twitterati people. So respect to all Notre Dame fans. Everyone is clearly entitled to their opinion, but I may throw a stone if someone makes a false accusation at me. So at Fanatics ND on the Twitter, thank you so much for contributing tonight to the Fighting Irish Faithful show. Well, Adam _Dowling 1, you're not tailgating, but you have been invited to join the show tonight if you so wish. So, Adam, if you're there, by all means, jump on. If not, we're going to jump to someone else and invite other people to speak. Adam. We invited John Richard, to speak. Oh, Adam, you there?
I'm there. Can you hear me?
There you are. What did you do? Just drop a ladder or something? You building a scaffold?
I had to go out in the garage. The missus is doing a little vacuuming.
Ah.
So,
I'll keep
how
all
you
my...
guys feeling?
I'm not going to say what I was going to say. I'm doing great. Yeah, you're in the man cave in the garage. Good job. You got, what do you got? Like the oil to change and, you got to rotate the tires. I don't know. We got to tune this engine here for the track. Notre Dame beats Navy. So, number one, we're happy, right? So, anyone with a frown, turn it upside down, okay? And if people are unhappy, that's fine. If you're unhappy, hey, look, Justin just jumped on, Mike Sloan just jumped on. See a couple other people here in the feed. If you're unhappy or you're upset about something, please jump on to speak. I want to hear it. We don't all have to think the same way. You all don't have to agree with me either. But Adam, what's your takeaway from this game?
I'm thinking that I was really disappointed during the game at the performance. But then I'm thinking, what? Shame on us for even expecting much different, because this is kind of the team we've been all year. We play to our competition.
That seems fair.
So a lot of people, even myself, were thinking, okay, beating Clemson, we're going to come out and just, the rest of the year we should start rolling. Maybe this will be a momentum changer, but it's not. It's who we are. We play to our competition. And
I didn't think we were going to beat Navy by more than 21 points, which was the margin of victory over Clemson.
I thought maybe we'd be 17 right at the spread.
I was with you there. I was thinking 14-17, exactly. Something in that range.
But it's a lot easier to kind of talk about this when we win the game, though, right?
Well, sure. And it's a lot easier to be negative, I guess, when we lose, obviously. And if anyone's listened to the last 10 minutes, it'd sound like we just lost the game. But I got a little hot under the collar due to a Twitter exchange I had, if anyone saw, but we don't have to talk about that. But no, Notre Dame comes out, and I think that the real concern everyone has is 0 points by the offense in the second half, and the lack of rushing, quite frankly, and just offensive production.
Yeah, it's almost like I know Navy was bringing a lot of people up in the box, and they were kind of shifting at the snap and bringing that number one linebacker. They were bringing some extra people, but I still think I like our chances running Estime a lot more than constantly passing the ball.
I agree, and it's like
and especially in the second half, when you just kind of want to run the clock, you're up by a few scores. They're going to run the clock, and let's get out of there and let's go home,
Do you think it's a lack of a killer instinct by Notre Dame because we had scored so many points in the first half, or is it more of a byproduct of Navy doing a good job coaching and staying disciplined and sound?
Probably a little bit of both.
That's fair.
It kind of looked like our faces looked like when we got up, like, okay, let's just get out of here. Let's go. Very uninterested.
Ouch.
Even Freeman all game. He looked like he wanted to just get out of there.
Yeah. He's just like, oh gosh,
So it's a hard sometimes I think it's more of a mental thing when you play these military academies when they run like this wing T, this option stuff, because I see teams like totally change what they're doing, and it's almost like the players aren't aggressive then. They're like kind of waiting for Navy to come to them. And I feel like it's more mental than it is physical. You still have to attack. You have to attack them. The best way to stop that offense is to get them in 2nd and 13, and stuff like that.
Yes.
But like, I feel like it's mental. I mean, we're talking 20 some years now, but when I was in high school, our coach would run like that. I played in like a wing T offense that passed a little bit more. And when defenses like totally change who they are and try to they act weird, it's almost like you have them where you want them. Because you would have trouble when teams attack you in the backfield. When they're just like trying to play perfect assignment football, that's when those offenses they have you.
Yeah, I agree. And we probably have to go back and look at what Notre Dame's offense was doing. I think, and one thing we really haven't talked about is what was different with Notre Dame's defense in the second half, or was Navy just finally executing on offense and Notre Dame and Al Golden or whatnot was just looking silly. I didn't say this in the last show just because I wasn't prepared, but someone called me out on the last show, and so I put this in a tweet, but it's probably buried in the bowels of Twitter unless someone's really savvy and wants to go stalk my profile. But I was looking at Al Golden specifically and how he had done at as a head coach versus Navy, and all the times he faced Navy were, of course, when he was at Temple from 2006 to 2009, and he played Navy 4 times in that period, and he had a 1-3 record. So that's and that's not that's a very like wide breadth of whatnot and don't get me wrong, like 2 of those years is when Coach Ken was there, because Coach Ken started in 2008 at the Naval Academy. 2 of those years with Paul Johnson, right? And then someone had a nice rebuttal of, well, what about Paul Johnson if triple option at Georgia Tech when Al Golden was at Miami? I'm like, okay, now people are really getting detailed. And again, I didn't go about and do that, but everyone's looking at the offense like it's this pestilence and this big problem, and that's pretty typical of Twitter and this show, quite frankly. But simultaneously, it's like defense wins championships, and I forget who it was earlier. It might have been Indy Fanatics. He pointed out very clearly that 2 of Notre Dame's best defenders, Brandon Joseph and JD Bertrand, were not playing at all today. So there were 2 giant holes, one in the middle. Probably the most important game Bertrand could have played in was this game, with his presence at middle linebacker, and then Brandon Joseph with his sound experience. Now, how much triple option have either of them been exposed to? I don't know about Brandon Joseph. Bertrand has, but maybe that's saying something, or maybe that's making excuses. I don't know. But what I will say is maybe we should be paying more attention to the defense's lack of execution in the second half and allowing Navy to come back. Because let's face it, the defense did pretty good in the first half.
Yeah. I just think it's more mental with the defense when you're playing those teams, because you're those kids are thinking about doing stuff different than they normally do versus a normal offense.
That's fair.
They are.
That's fair. It's a unique offense. It's nasty.
Yeah.
They have, and that's the thing. They have to think more. It is unusual, uncharacteristic. There is a reason why the Naval Academy runs triple option. If anyone listened to our pregame show on Thursday, yes, I said Thursday because I was sick earlier in the week, so we did the pregame show on Thursday. Navy runs that offense for a reason, because it's really nasty, it's a very disciplined sound, and it can burn you and there's also a talent discrepancy that they have to cope with, right? And I do believe that triple option offense gives them the best opportunity to win out over their opponent.
Yeah. And then
No one
back
likes
to the
it,
offense,
but it is what it is.
I was kind of wondering, the last two games, it seemed like Reese kind of turned the corner and he was calling a lot better of a game, and we were running the ball a lot. We were running downhill. And then today it just kind of seemed like he kind of gave up on it right away. And I'm just wondering if he was told to run the ball a lot more in those two games by Freeman, and then like this game he kind of went back to his old ways, and he might have to be told again. I just wonder, to be on a fly in the wall to know,
Yeah, well, and the thing is, I mean, Boston College is trash this year, which is so great to say. I actually look forward to reviewing their stats starting tomorrow and Monday, going into the show on Tuesday night. I'm excited for that. So, well, Adam, rest up. Don't know if you got snow like we did here in central Indiana, but you're going. I assume you're going to the BC game.
Yeah, I'll be there. We'll see how it goes. These are the games that scare us, though. Not the. They'll be ready to play USC, but when we play 2 and 7, that's what scares you.
Well, if you need an extra layer of warmth going into the game, go ahead and hit up the Etsy store of the Fighting Irish Faithful store on Etsy there to grab your hoodie. So.
All right, guys, go Irish. At least we can vent a little bit in a victory. That's always better.
Yeah, I agree. Constructive criticism in a victory is better than whatever you want to call it in a loss. So thank you, Adam.
All right, I'll get off. All right, talk to you later. Bye.
All right, cheers. Bye. All right, Adam Dowling, 1 on the Twitter. Thank you for joining us again. We've invited a new person here, Abigail. It's Baby Happy. You've been invited to speak on the Fighting Irish Faithful show if you so wish. New person, if you want to jump on and contribute and say go Irish or screw Michigan or whatever you want, that's fine. This is a friendly place. If not, we'll go to someone else if you just want to listen. We might just jump over here to the spokesman of the Fighting Irish Faithful Etsy store, Justin Cates. Are you there, sir? I saw you jump on Thursday, but then you jumped off real quick, which is cool. Justin Cates on Twitter. You've been invited to speak. Oh, nope, there's Abigail. Abigail, go ahead and hit the pink button on the lower left-hand corner to join us. Justin, go on.
I'm here, sir. How are you, man?
I'm going to mute you, Justin. Hold on. Abigail, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hey, guys. I've always wanted to jump on one of your spots and never been able to, so happy to be here and go Irish.
That's right. Go Irish. Are you happy with the win?
It's a roller coaster of emotions. It was kind of just a disbelief. My dad says we jinxed it because we went in so hot and so hyped into halftime. But, you can't be mad at a win truly, but you can always question it and be frustrated.
Constructive criticism. I like that. And by the way, we're happy to have you on and thank you and welcome to the Fighting Irish Faithful show. Everyone is invited. Even we've even had opposing fans at points. So although we may question having LSU people on, that's been a while.
I did hop on last week when you had that one crying belly guy.
Oh, you heard that, dude?
To jump off. Yes, I did.
Was that really awkward and cringy, like watching a political debate? Not to get into politics, but it's just like, nails on a chalkboard.
Yes, because you were like, he doesn't have anything to do with us, so go take that up with him. So
I'm like, why are you here? Why are you complaining about Brian Driscoll? Right, exactly.
Yeah, the density.
Anyway, yeah, well, we won't give that fool more time than he deserves. So, I think that's a valid point you or your family there makes regarding Notre Dame coming in hot. Looking great in the first half. We can't complain too much about that. 35 points. Wow. That's probably one of our most solid performances in the first half we've seen all year. I can't see anything better. The only thing better was North Carolina. We scored 24 points in the second quarter, but we had 0 in the first quarter. But yeah, to come out and lay a goose egg in the second half. I mean, what's your thought on that?
I didn't look at the final stats for the second half. How many yards did we end up having? Because I knew close to the end it was in the negative.
Total yards of the game was not terrible, but I think that's the first half that's carrying over. Someone else broke it, and I'll be the first to admit I don't break it down by quarter or half. Someone said we had like 2 total yards, and maybe that's a Pete Sampson retweet there. So
okay,
2.
Yeah, it
2
was
cents.
so
Get
flat,
2 pennies here.
Yeah, it was so flat, and it was one of those. I know that was it Colsey or Lindsay was open, and all Drew Pine really had to do was like throw in his direction, but he took a sack. I mean, I don't know what else could have been done there. The sacks in the second half was just incredible for Navy.
Yeah, right. It's like, man, who's this? Was this a Big Ten team? Like what's going on here? Speaking of great receptions, what's your thought? And we haven't talked about this, and I made note to mention this tonight. I think Lindsay, this was his best game he's ever had. Because he had that
I would have to agree.
He had that one touchdown pass where he literally reached around the defender of Navy and pulled it away with one hand.
Yeah, I think that this season of wide receivers as a whole has just been overall disappointing. So when one of them has, that immaculate catch, it kind of highlights everything they do the rest of the game. So I think that was his best game of the season, but was that just because he had that one great catch and we kept an extra eye on him?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, at this point, I feel like I'm grasping at straws. It's like, look, good, yay! Like it's finally happening, But yeah, that catch around the Navy defender that was very, very challenging, and I do not think it was like luck or anything of that nature. I do think that took strength and concentration and some athletic ability to reach around someone to grab a ball and then pull it away in the end zone. So respect to Lindsay for that. And then prior to, he had another great reception to keep the chains moving in that drive. So yeah, I mean, look, the receivers, we've beat this drum before. But yeah, I mean, the effectivity of Drew Pine in the passing game was the best it was all year, passing attempts per touchdown, 5.3. And at the same time, here I am in the next breath saying we should pass less. So I'll be the first to admit that I'm a little, oxymoronish there, but, I don't know. I think that's just kind of the nature of this game. It's like, on one hand, I love what you're doing, Notre Dame offense. On the other hand, I hate what you're doing. It's kind of like an actual marriage or relationship. Well, Abigail, if there's anything else you want to get off your chest or touch on here, we by all means, or if we'll just move on.
Nope, I'm good. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. Love listening to you.
I appreciate that. Well, thank you. You're welcome anytime. Anyone's welcome. And appreciate your contribution to the post-game live show, the Navy Survival Show at It's Baby Happy on the Twitter. I'm going to have to practice that a few more times. Thank you for joining us again. Justin, I see you. We'll bring you back.
What up?
No, we're happy to have you back. Thank you, Justin Cates, for joining us.
First things first, head to the Etsy store, get yourself some gear.
That's right.
Okay?
It's getting cold.
First.
Those hoodies, you will not find a less expensive Notre Dame-ish hoodie on the web.
No, you won't. Go get yourself one. T-shirts, whatever you need, get them all. If you're in Arizona, it's still sunny and warm. Grab a T-shirt,
I mean, it drops to, 68, and people get sweatpants on.
I don't even want to think about 60. Oh, dude, if the high is 68, I'm not kidding. In the morning, you're likely to see winter coats.
That's very true. Well, Justin, Notre Dame comes out with a victory, but it kind of feels like they had started the race ahead. It's kind of like is this like a tortoise in the hare kind of thing, where Notre Dame is the prototypical hare, just whew, right out of the gate, just like burning it, and then we just kind of like take a nap the second half and just kind of walk across the finish line whereas the turtle is just kind of in navy, just galloping along, and then we just edge out the victory.
Yeah, well, let me say, I actually wrote some things down because I feel like
shit. Good thing I'm sitting.
Well, you know what? I was reading your the Twitter but conversation you were having.
Please be discreet. We don't want to call anyone out specifically.
No. I'm not calling anyone out specifically at all. But we
want to maintain some level of respect.
Yes. I think that people have to realize that Drew Pine is who Drew Pine is. Okay? And,
please, thank you.
And that's not going to change. But what people also have to realize, including a lot of like pay site reporters who get information from said offensive coordinator, it's not Drew Pine's job to build himself up to be a better quarterback. At some point, that has to come from the coach in the scheme and adjustments.
Yeah. Hey, you guys recruited me. This is what you're getting.
Yeah.
Either make me better or I'm just going to perform like this.
Well, and Drew Pine could play if he went, and all we hear about all the time is Tommy Reese is a genius and, the crush at ESPN on him and look at what he's doing here. Look what he's doing here. Marcus Freeman essentially admitted in the post game, in the second half, they just started bringing all out pressure and zero coverage and they could not beat it.
Then why the fuck are we passing?
well, zero coverage just meaning that they blitzed everybody. That's exactly why you do throw, because you can't run into it. But the point is, it shouldn't be very hard. I mean, you can check to someone in the middle of the field. Whoever's vacating, you can throw.
I'll tell you what, Navy won't do that if we go under center in an I formation. They won't do that in an I formation. No.
I don't know.
We do that bunch formation. Let's back up. We did and I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not trying to argue with you. But what I will say is this: all those plays we saw against Clemson, bunch formations, double tight end. Did we see any of that shit tonight? No. Why?
Smartest dude in the room. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's not try to outthink Navy. Why don't we do what actually worked against a really good team in Clemson and actually rely on our 300 plus, linemen to move the 190-pound defensive lineman for Navy. Shocker.
Well, here's the other thing. If they're blitzing 8 or 7, like, what about a screen pass?
That's fair.
What about something that is different? And so that, but I will say this. I'm very glad we won. It was nice to see Lindsey today.
Me too.
I thought it was interesting that Freeman said that, basically saying, listen, they were bringing all out blitzes and we couldn't beat it with the throw. Saying we needed to throw, we couldn't do it. My defensive things I have down here is, first of all, I think Benjamin Morrison is the best corner we have now.
Agreed.
It's been that way 2 weeks in a row. He's very good. I think someone brought up a really good point. Not having Bertrand and Joseph, just leadership-wise, I think hurts bad.
Yeah. Someone's got to call out and bark out the plays, and the experienced guys, guys are getting a lot of the reps, seeing a lot of snaps.
Well, and someone needs to calm everybody. Like, hey, guys, we're going to be okay. I thought Prince Collie looked really good. He flashes every time he plays. I don't know. Part of me feels like our defense is really good. I'm on the run the damn ball train.
Woohoo!
And this is, and I can close with this. I cringe every time I hear somebody say, "Oh, so and so was talking to me." Especially this happened this week. Al Golden said he's got some interesting ideas about how to defend the triple option. Stop. What did we do last year? Okay.
What does any team do to stop the triple option? This isn't new. You could put in a VHS tape from 1994 and 4:3 aspect ratio into a VHS. Bring it up from the basement, and that's the Navy tape. That's what we're gonna do. That's what they're gonna do.
Hey, can you get in the Wayback Machine with me? Let's go to I think it was 2001. It was Willingham's, I think, first year. We're playing Air Force. Air Force was ranked in the top 15. They had Chance Harridge. They had a sick triple option team. And I think Kent Baer was a defensive coordinator. And we had Jerome Sapp and Garon Bible and can't remember the other safety's name, but they were studs. But you know what they did? They made sure that the quarterback and the pitch man got smacked on every play. The last person commented was right. You make them pay physically and mentally. Every time they roll out, if they're not handing it on the dive, once those guys break outside, they know they are going to get hammered. And eventually that pitch starts coming earlier and earlier because you know what? When, a safety, when Xavier Watts is running at you downhill at 20 miles an hour and he knows all I have to do is hit the quarterback and guess what I'm allowed to?
Mm-hmm.
Like, stop playing catch. Don't let them
especially
run
when it's a running play. Yeah.
Yeah. Punish them. And guess what? In the second
And there were
half,
a few plays where Notre Dame did that, right?
Yeah.
Where
but
we
it
were
wasn't
assignment
every
football.
play,
And we did, yeah, it wasn't consistent enough. I agree.
Yeah, and someone now, I was never a quarterback, but someone told me in an all-star game in high school, he was an option guy, and he said he hated playing teams that were real physical because if you get down as an option team, you have to throw in the second half generally.
Yep.
Well, it sounds strange, but not strange, but it makes sense. Your hands get beat up, taking hits, making pitches, you're beat up. Come second half, you got to air it out, and you're not. I mean, you can do it, but you're beat up. You don't want to do it. You're tired. You're hurting. So these Navy guys aren't going to quit, but you can make it not feel good.
I agree. I agree.
And I just think that kind of like you said, it's like this was sort of we didn't see really anything we saw against Clemson. Not those offensive formations, not the physicality throughout on defense. And I don't know. The triple option thing, like you said, stop. There is no new way to defend it. Marcus Freeman defended it fine last year.
Yes.
And by the way, what did Al Golden pick up in the NFL about how to defend the triple option? I like Al Golden. But did someone run that I didn't know about? Is that what Joe Burrow?
I'm not a NFL expert since I don't really watch it, but I'm going to go on a limb and say there's very little triple option elements in the National Football League.
Yeah. So, those are my points. I am sorry I missed I hopped in for a little bit on Thursday. I was really sad I didn't see it Tuesday, and then I hopped in on Thursday, and my wife got laid off, and then she got a job, and then we went out to eat.
Oh, okay. So it went from really sad to really happy. Okay, that's all right. Well, that sounds like you're taking care of the home front there, so that's good.
And you know what? It's all about tingles and tequila this next week. Boston College. I'm gonna put the prediction in the pocket.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Let me grab a pen here. Go.
I don't know. Do you want me to give it on Tuesday or right now? I can give it to you right now.
Sounds like you're ready for it now. Don't
45-17 Notre Dame wins on Senior Day.
45-17 victory. All right. I'm cool with that.
Tingles and Tequila.
Tingles and Tequila by Justin Cates. I appreciate that. Well, Sarah, I appreciate your feedback, your multiple points, your thesis there. Go ahead and we'll put that in 8x10, paper or whatever, and Times New Roman 12-point font, and submit it to the grad school for a thesis review. So.
No Courier New for my thesis.
That's right. What are the
weird? Hey, Fighting Irish Faithful, I'm always with you. Run the damn ball. And one more thing.
Run the ball.
Can we let's go with Estime. Can we just declare he's our guy and stop this? I know we have 3 great backs and we spread it out. But geez, man, let's stop playing around.
I'd be okay if
the
more.
Man eat.
I would be okay with this. Put 2 guys in at the same time, either an I formation or split back. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, well, especially if they're bringing 8 people, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Then you have to account for both of them. It's like, well, wait a minute. Like, what are we going to do here? Like, again, we can go round and round and round. I don't think it's going to really change the outcome of the game because, quite frankly, obviously the game's over. But other than that, Notre Dame kind of wanted to try to pass today. And, maybe that's a propensity and knee-jerk reaction by Tommy Rees. I don't know. Or is it just like we're up by so much? Yeah, let's try to, work the passing game, because you got that USC game and bowl game coming up. I don't know, who knows?
But don't you sort of feel like don't change who you are?
See, that's my thing. Like, and I kind of, at the end of the Marshall game, I went and said, like, look, we just need to rethink who we are as a football team, period. Yeah. And then just regroup. And then through that, and especially during the North Carolina game, we're just like, okay, we can run the ball pretty well. Let's do that, that should be the foundation of any successful football team is running the football. As much as I hate to admit it, Michigan, suck on them, but they can run the football really well. Because
and they don't not do it for anybody.
Yeah. I mean, Grant, their schedule is not great. We've harped on that, but they keep winning. And they don't try to get cute and just like, oh, well, we're playing Nebraska and they've got a new interim coach and it's, like, no, they're going to run the football because that's what they do, and not that we're trying to be like Michigan, but it's like, look, here's a team that went to the playoffs last year. Grant, they got smoked in the face, but it doesn't matter. They're winning. They're doing decent. And, they're right now ranked in the playoffs and we're not. So, Justin Cates,
yeah, and
thank you so much.
Yeah, all right.
No, I'm not trying to kick off. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Do you think any of it is like, hey, we ran the ball so much, like, let me show what else we can do? And it's like, well, what if...
I don't know. Like, there should be, like, you shouldn't do plays that you don't have to do to win the game, right? Like, when we did the what was it? The backup tight end Evans, he's going under center and then
sneak, yeah,
and punching it forward. It's like, do you really need to do that this week against this opponent? Like, maybe you should save that for Clemson, right? That kind of stuff, like, okay, but at the same time, it's like, we shouldn't run plays because we're worried about what's going to go on film for a game down the road. Like, no, you need to win today. Win today with what you have available today. And if that's running the football, if that's passing, if that's this, if that's that, that's this guy, that's the other guy, I don't care. Okay? Because yes, we can be unsatisfied with terrible yardage in the second half. Actually, it's abysmal in the second half and no points in the second half. But Marcus Freeman still gets to go up to that podium and say, yeah, we won.
We got a W, yeah.
But we still clearly have stuff to work on and put teams away, which we, like, it'd be one thing if the second half was 0-0. I think if the second half was 0-0 or like 0-3, 0-6, something like that, okay, and we limited to Navy to maybe a touchdown and no more than that, I don't think people would be complaining too much. I think it was just the nature and this recoil response people have where it's like, oh shit, here comes Navy. Oh no, here comes Navy. Navy's coming back. Their backup quarterback's in. And they do triple option. And cut blocks. And like, people start freaking out unnecessarily, and they don't need to. Just everyone could just calm the shit down. Pour yourself a scotch. All right, relax.
Well, and it's always nice to have that luxury where you lose, but you get to say, hey, when you win, but you have stuff to harp on, like, hey, we won, but you guys sucked in the second half. So
right.
don't get comfortable. Now we're lucky because we got a W.
Yeah.
But maybe you have that conversation like, hey, when Alabama had really subpar quarterbacks, but a really good offensive line and good backs.
Yeah, and really good defense, yeah.
Yeah, there was no coordinator at Alabama who said, you know what, watch this, Nick. We're going to sling it 60 times today. You know what I mean? It was like, no, what we're going to do is we're going to line up like we do all the time, and we're just going to smash your head in because you know what? They didn't have, but to Nick Saban and Alabama's credit, which I hate to say, once they started getting elite skill and elite quarterbacks, he allowed it to change.
Sure.
But I think like where Notre Dame is right now, you're sort of not that we're as good as Alabama was at that time, but make them stop what we're very good at before we, like you said, let's not be unnecessarily cute unless we need it.
Yeah.
We should be able to run for 400 yards. At the end of the game, whether they're blitzing, 8, if they've had a first half full of getting it rammed down their throat, it's probably not as easy for them to stop it in the second half,
Sure. And back to your point about Alabama, the last, I'd say, mediocre quarterback they had that was still a successful team by Alabama was 2015, the national champion Alabama team. Do you know who their quarterback was? Hint, this is the team with Derrick Henry. So, granted, they had a Heisman Trophy, running back on their team. But do you know who their quarterback was?
No.
They didn't try to get cute with Jake Coker.
Oh, Jake Coker, yeah.
Right? It's like, and don't get me wrong, like, he was decent, he actually threw for 3,100 yards, which is pretty remarkable, not as much as Tommy Rees in 2013. Tommy Rees actually threw for 3,257, whereas Jake Coker 3,110. So, it's just a little spot of trivia there for you, but
that's a good callback.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, you mentioned it because it's like, look, Alabama didn't start getting like really slinging it until they knew they had. I mean, they kind of did it a little bit with A.J. McCarron, but not really. They still had the Eddie Lacy's of the world and whatnot, and they had a fantastic defense all those years. But yeah, the Deshaun Watson,
Julio Jones.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson in 2016, Clemson kind of, beat them out. Yeah. And then you got Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa coming in 2017. And then, Kyler Murray's doing his thing with Tua Tagovailoa in 2018. And then Joe Burrow comes on in 2019. And then you got the Mac Jones team in 2020, obviously. And that was fantastic to watch him. I mean, geez, gosh, what a great performance by him. I mean, Mac Jones had a 77% completion percentage.
I know.
Like, hello.
And everyone just pretended like he was a game manager. Like, well, he can just manage the game. It's like, well, that's fairly impressive to manage a game at that clip.
Yeah, man, he managed to throw 4,500 yards that year. That's how much he managed. So, figure that shit out. It's actually more than Kyler Murray. It's only second to Baker Mayfield. Okay, it's not nearly as much as Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow blows everyone out with 5,600 yards. But anyway, now we're just being jealous here. Well, Justin, we're gonna jump to one more person real quick and wrap up this show. I really appreciate you jumping on.
You got it, bro. Just so you know, Clemson's up 24-10 and just turned it over.
Oh, good. If they win, then we look better. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good man. Again, good job.
All right. Cheers, man. At Justin Cates on the Twitter, thank you for joining the Fighting Irish Faithful show. We'll go over to Dominic. We invited you before. We're inviting you back. Dom Richard, 88. Unmute yourself. Pink button. Welcome back to the Fighting Irish Faithful show, buddy.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, dude.
Listened to a little bit of the show this evening. Watched the whole game. Parents came down, so watched it with them. The obvious thing was Drew Pine and the quarterback situation, which I'm sure people have talked about all night so far.
Oh, the fact that he had a really good completion percentage tonight?
Yes and no. I would be. That's kind of surprising to me. But his first half, I mean, he looked awesome. But
I mean, that is true. He did throw for 81% of the time. That wasn't like a trick, question or anything. But
what was it the second half compared to the first?
Ah, damn it! You're like the fourth person that said that. And here, baby in the background is like, look at the second half. Look at the second half. Baby's calling me out, saying that stop looking at the whole game. Look at that garbage second half. Yeah, you know what? I do not have the ready ability unless I went and charted play by play the statistics of what we were able to do first half versus second half. I just kind of look at the overall thing. Otherwise, it'd take way too long to get ready for a show. Or, we need to staff up some interns here on the Fighting Irish Faithful show, or we need a producer or something. But yeah, no, passing. Look, my whole thing is passing is of concern because it's like, that's not how we've won most of our big games. And now all of a sudden we're going to, just because it's Navy, like, and don't get me wrong, we should pass well against the Naval Academy, but that's just not really what this team is. But I don't know. What's your thought? Or what does Baby think? Crickets. We might have lost Dominic here to Daddy Duty. So, you back? Dominic, come back. Well, if Dominic's not going to jump on, that's cool. No big deal. We can check things out. You there? I hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's all right.
Yeah. The first half, Pine had the hot hand. They had some nice looking plays in the passing game. And I think they tried to ride it a little bit too long. And they didn't establish a run game. And I think it bit them there in the second half.
I mean, he had 4 passing touchdowns, which is great.
The first half?
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course. The whole game, right? But yeah.
Yeah. But then I don't even think they didn't get any points the second half at all, did they?
No, nothing. We like, this is the typical Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory scene. You get nothing. Good day, sir. Yeah, that's Notre Dame in the second half. We should tweet that out. So
yeah, because he did play spectacular in the first half. He really did. He had some great throws. The passing lanes were open. Good play calling all around. And then I think the blitzes just started to get to him in the second half, and after that, it was when you don't have a running game established, that's
when it's hard to establish a running game when you're trying to throw on first down, all 3 possessions. We only had 3 real possessions in the second half. Navy did a very good job of controlling the ball, controlling the clock in the second half, and they made Notre Dame pay for it with. Here's my thought. If Notre Dame had come out on first down to establish drives better and maybe run the ball with Estime between the tackles, I realized that Navy was selling out for the run. But again, I go back to the fact that we were able to move and push Clemson all over the field. Why can't we do that against Navy?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question.
It is.
But anyway, thanks for having me on, Joe. I got to get off. And
no worries. I smelled dinner in the other room, so I think it's time for me to jump off here too. Dominic, I really appreciate you jumping on at DomRichard88 on the Twitter. Thank you for joining us, sir, and go Irish.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, cheers. All right. Well, I think that's it for people tonight. Look, Notre Dame is victorious. We're happy with the win. Obviously, we've had some angsty kind of stuff here. I'm just happy that Notre Dame wins and we come out with a victory. We're gonna get some old timey music here. Notre Dame defeats Navy. If anyone wants to know my opinion on this series, you need to go back to Thursday's show. I got no problem with it. I do have a problem with Notre Dame not executing in the second half. I also think we should run the ball better. We can run against Clemson. We can't against Navy. That seems very perplexing. Simultaneously, I'm not going to get too bent out of shape with Drew Pine because he throws for 4 passing touchdowns and had one of the best games on paper that he's had all season, despite the 1 interception. and the stats of the second half. But the rest of the stats overall for the game are very good. So maybe it's a function of execution, a function of Navy's level of execution, and just what we expect from the Naval Academy. There should be no surprises in this game. Navy trying to make a solid comeback against Notre Dame. That's really what it comes down to. But Notre Dame is victorious. And yeah, now we go back to South Bend, probably a good thing. And we face Boston College, backup college, a team we don't like. So there it is. Thank you everyone for joining us on the Navy Survival Show on the Fighting Irish Faithful Show. I am Joe at Faithful_Irish on Twitter. You can find the show on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, the YouTube channel Fighting Irish Faithful, or if anyone wants to send me some stat breakdown, whatever, you can email me at fightingirishfaithful@gmail.com. We don't really plug the email too much, but hey, it's there if people are brave enough to send me stuff. And I will read it. That's perfectly fine. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Appreciate everyone for jumping on. Ton of people tonight. Really great for a post-game show. Thank you so much. And go Irish. And let's get after it next week versus Boston College.
Throws the ball. It is caught. Reggie Brooks. Reggie Brooks got it for a two-pointer. And Notre Dame is out in front 17-16. Lost the ball. The pass is batted down. It's batted down by Carroll.
It's caught by Samaja. Inside the 20. Inside the 10. He's going in. Notre Dame has scored. Dawson throws. Open receiver in the end zone. Touchdown. Notre Dame. Somehow the Irish did it.
Out of the pack, 30, 35. Goodbye, baby. At the 50, the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10. Bye-bye, rocket touchdown, Irish.
Tyree. Whoa. Can he get there? Tyree at the 30, 20, 10. Touchdown, Notre Dame. Woo, 98. Big ones. Zibikowski looking for a block. Cuts to the right to the 40. Gets a block. Gets to the 45, 50. Up to the 45, 40, 30. 1 minute to beat. 20, 15, 10. He's down to the 5. Touchdown, Irish.